Good evening, everybody, and welcome in as we present this week's edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. This is our final edition of the Informer before the Milford town elections. This coming Tuesday, April 4th, is Election Day. Milford's 3 polling locations will be open from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m., allowing registered voters here in town to make some very important decisions on key local government positions. For one last time on the Informer, we want to run through each of the 5 contested races on the 2017 ballot. For the Board of Selectmen, there are 2 separate races taking place. For the 2 years remaining on the seat being vacated by State Representative Brian Murray, you have 3 choices. Those choices include current member of the Town Commission on Disabilities, Harold Rhodes, the current chair of the Milford School Committee, Mike Walsh, and member of the Milford Cultural Council, Jessica Lebrecq. For a full 3-year term on the Board of Selectmen, there are 2 candidates for voters to choose from. Current Selectman Chair Bill Buckley is seeking a 4th term on the board. He is being opposed by Milford Building Commissioner and School Committee member John Erickson. Other contested races include 1 seat on the Planning Board, where incumbent John Cook is being opposed by Mike Visconti. The race to fill the final year on an unexpired term on the Board of Assessors pits Joshua Leosh against Charles Scaff. And for the final 2 years on an unexpired constable position, there are 3 candidates. Those candidates are Nadine Ladeau, Robert Sheedy, and Scott Vecchiola. So once again, Election Day is this Tuesday, April 4th. All 3 polling locations open at 8 a.m. and remain open until 8 p.m. If you live in Precinct 1 or Precinct 6, your polling location is the Ruth Ann Bleakney Senior Center. If you live in Precinct 2 or Precinct 3, your polling location is the Italian American Veterans Hall. And for Precincts 4, 5, 7, and 8, your polling location is the Portuguese Club. And once you've cast your ballot, make sure you tune into Milford TV on Tuesday night for our election night coverage. We will be going live from Town Hall beginning at 7:45 p.m. Myself, Al Correa, and Kevin Rudden will provide updates and analysis throughout the night, and of course we will bring you precinct by precinct results as they come in. We've also invited all of the candidates in contested as well as uncontested races to join us, so you can expect plenty of interviews throughout the evening as well. So get out and vote on April 4th, and then check out our live election night coverage right here on Milford TV. Now let's get to what we have coming up on the rest of the program tonight in our top stories rundown. Tonight, watch as local politicians and residents gathered at Town Hall to honor Brian Murray as he prepared for his final meeting as a member of Milford's Board of Selectmen. Also tonight, get an early look at the Milford boys volleyball team as they bring a young and talented squad into the 2017 spring season. And later, we continue to get the Milford community ready for spring sports as we provide a preview for the Lady Hawks softball team. The one thing we know for certain ahead of Tuesday's elections is there will be at least 1 new face on Milford's Board of Selectmen. After a long and distinguished run on the board, Brian Murray is stepping down from his seat to give himself the necessary time to devote to his new position as state representative. Through his years as a selectman, Brian has made a lasting positive impact on the Milford community. Prior to this Monday's selectman meeting, the final meeting before Election Day, there was a special ceremony held at Town Hall to honor Brian Murray for his years of dedicated service to the Milford community. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the ceremony provided by our Milford TV intern, Jake Martin.
For me, it's really been about doing things for the town of Milford. You know, as John alluded to, when I came back from law school, I wanted to get involved, and I didn't really know how to. So I started at the bottom, and I just became a town meeting member.
Brian was a dedicated public servant, always had the best interests of Milford residents at hand, always the first to volunteer for a project. When I first got here, I needed a lot of tutelage, a lot of guidance, and he was right there every step of the way. We will miss him. The great thing is he's going to be at the State House, so he will still be there to assist us at an even greater level.
I'm confident that Brian's going to be a great state representative, and who knows what he does beyond that.
I meant what I said. I don't know of anybody in my lifetime that's had the success in moving this community forward as Brian has. And, you know, we all try to do our part. We all play a role. We all have some successes. We all suffer failures. His record is unmatched, and I'm very proud of him as a friend. I'm very proud of him as somebody I served with. And I look forward to seeing what he's going to do at the State House, because I know he'll have great success there as well.
I think Milford is very fortunate to have had his service all these years and continues to be fortunate to have him represent the town of Milford in the House of Representatives.
I've been very honored tonight to hear so many people say wonderful things about the man I'm fortunate to live with, and he's all of what they said and more.
You know, when I think back all of the things that I was lucky enough to be involved in, the most important part of it was just be involved with the people.
The thing that's really amazing is that he was an amazing father that found time to be with them. He coached them, but just being there for them emotionally. He's a very hard worker, and he's got a lot of energy, and he's just, I don't know, he's a great guy.
And like John said, I'm not really going anywhere, just kind of moving a little bit, and I'll be around to help out. So thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
We've got snow coming down outside. Temperatures are still struggling to even get into the mid-40s, but it is time for spring sports for high school teams to begin. The boys volleyball team got their season started on the road Thursday afternoon. Earlier in the week, I met up with the team and their head coach to find out what their expectations are for the season ahead. Boys volleyball officially kicked off their season this past week. The team and their second-year head coach Andrew Mainini look to build off of a 2016 season that ended just one win short of a playoff berth.
Last season was a learning experience for me. It was also a big learning experience for our athletes. That year we had a lot of returning players. We graduated about 7 seniors. And what was interesting about the team is that even though we were returning a lot of athletes, they were first-year varsity players. So there was a big learning curve. We definitely progressed as the season went on. We missed the tournament by 1 match, which was tough because we needed to win our last match of the season and we didn't pull it out. But we had a great time along the way. As for leadership on the floor for this season, Coach Mainini selected a pair of seniors who command a great deal of respect from their young teammates. The 2 captains this year are Danny Zawanik and Jack Winship. They're great friends, but they have different qualities that make them good leaders. Jack knows a ton about the sport of volleyball. He's played all 4 years and actually started playing just a little bit before his freshman season. He picked up the sport right away, and he knows the game in and out and the rules in and out. And he's also a good motivator out on the court. The guys respond to him well. Danny's a little bit newer of a player. He started in his junior year, but the way he interacts with the athletes is unlike anyone else I have on my team this year. He's kind of a soft-spoken individual, but he has a ton of heart, and his teammates can see that, and they trust him, and they react very well to him. So he's also our setter. So that means when he's out on the court, he's gonna kind of be running the court, calling the plays, and which is a tall task for a second-year player playing at the varsity level as a senior and being a captain. So I'm excited for what they both bring to the court, and I know they're gonna do an awesome job.
I think it's a great experience. I kind of walked into the season last year not knowing what to think, and kind of just going in with high hopes. And I found that I really loved what this program represents and everything that it brings to the table. And I just think that it's a great honor to, especially looking back at the past captains in previous years and how great they were, to represent the program in the same way.
This year's boys volleyball team has a small core of juniors and seniors, but will be comprised mostly of underclassmen looking to gain experience as the season goes on.
Definitely we have to work on a lot of things. A lot of things aren't coming as natural as they obviously it's a hard sport to pick up, but a lot of the kids show a lot of potential, And I think that Milford Volleyball honestly could surprise a lot of teams this year.
We graduated 7 seniors last year. We returned 2 juniors who are now seniors, and we picked up 2 more. And we also have 2 juniors, so we have a total of 6 upperclassmen, 4 seniors, 2 juniors. And then we have a crazy number of sophomores, so we have 16 sophomores. They're a mixture of new and returning players from their freshman year. But what's really exciting about them is that there's a ton of athletic ability there. So we don't know how the season's going to finish, but we know we have a lot of potential and a lot of work to do to get them to to achieve what they can achieve.
I think there's a lot to find, and we'll definitely grow as the season goes, and it might start off to a bumpy start just because we got to kind of get our feet underneath us, but once we get going, I think we might surprise a lot of people.
Aside from acclimating to a roster full of new players, the team will also be adjusting to a newly formed league that comes chock full of talented programs.
This year, we actually petitioned to get into a league of teams that were just like us, and it's called the Western Alliance. So this year, we're adding a lot of new teams to our schedule who we're familiar with, but a lot of them haven't been on our schedule for a few years now. So we're going to be playing Medfield, St. John's, also St. John's Prep, BC High, Zavarian, Millis, who's returning a lot of seniors. So they'll be a really competitive match. And I might be missing 1 or 2, but we have a lot to prepare for, and a lot of unknowns too, but it makes the season all that more exciting. And we plan to compete in this league, and if it's not this year, it's next year where we want to be the top team in the league. So we're excited to be a part of it, and we're ready to take control of it.
And there's definitely a lot of teams that I know that we can beat. Almost all the teams. We're obviously going to put up a great fight. Powerhouse in the league like Millis and St. John's Prep, got to watch out for, but it's just a learning experience. Honestly, it's our first time in the new league, but yeah, I think that we're going to have a lot of potential, and we're going to come in strong.
I almost enjoy being in this league much more than no league at all, just because not only we know who we're playing every year, but with it being such a tough league, it will bring out the best in us, not only this year, but in the future and in years to come, just because when we play such good teams, we'll know what to expect, and we'll know that we'll have to rise up to them if we're going to be able to win.
While the team may be in for some growing pains during the 2017 season, Coach Mainini feels that the overall future for his program is very bright.
Our program is going to be really healthy this year. It's interesting. We have about 6 or 7 freshmen. We have about 5 8th graders involved again. We have another waiver, what our biggest surprise was the sophomore class. We actually lost a few athletes, but we picked up almost double the amount of athletes we lost in the sophomore class. So I think I think the volleyball community in Milford is vibrant, and I think both of our programs are going to be really successful and healthy over the next couple of years.
So the volleyball team has already begun their season. Meanwhile, baseball and softball are set to have their first regular season action next week. We hope. Last week we showed you how the baseball team is shaping up heading into their season, and now tonight let's take a look at the season preview for the Milford Lady Hawks softball team.
Now the Milford bench cheering on Tommaso. She lines this pitch out to deep left field, back towards the fence, and that is over the fence for a 2-run home run. And just like that, Milford is going to jump back on top by a score of 3-2.
Another season of Milford softball is just days away, and once again expectations around the community are sky high. The team is coming off of another dominant season with 16 wins and a solid showing in the postseason.
I thought last year was another great year. We won 17 games. But I think the biggest thing with our girls that we've noticed over the last couple of years is they're not satisfied, which is important. And the girls that are returning, which from covering the team, and a lot of people who've watched the team have noticed that there are a lot of girls that are returning. So with that returning, that means there's a lot of experience. And a lot of these girls over the last 2 years have seen some disappointment at the end of the year in those quarterfinals and the playoffs. And our message in the off season moving forward is just remember that sour taste that's in your mouth and that feeling in your gut at the end of the year, and let that push you, so that way in the off season you're doing everything you can so that doesn't happen again. From what I've been able to to hear and talking to some youth group people who have seen them here at the youth center working out in the off season. They've really done a great job, and over the first couple days of tryouts and practice now, their focus has been great. Their will to work hard has been awesome, and that's very important to us.
The only holes Coach DeVito has to fill from last year's team are the ones left by his former captains Jill Powers and Megan Jakes. The coach knows these won't be easy holes to fill.
Jakes and Powers, losing the two of them, their leadership was off the charts. What they brought to the table as far as their experience of being on the varsity team for 4 years, and just the way that they were as leaders was second to none. But I would say, this is my 4th year, I don't know a year where our captains haven't been extraordinary leaders.
That's a trend Coach DeVito is confident will continue this season, with clutch offensive players Maggie Farrell and Caitlin DeCapua and 4-year ace pitcher Allie Atherton all assuming leadership roles on this year's team.
I'm very excited after being on the team for 4 years, finally being the leader, and I like being looked up to.
Yeah, I think it's really special because we've all been together all our lives basically playing. So now that all 3 of us are here, finally being able to run this team or be role models to all of them, it's just a really good feeling.
And off of what Allie said, I'd also say it's also an honor that Coach DeVito trusts us to be in charge of the team. He has high expectations for us to get the team ready to go when it's time for the game.
Allie Atherton, Maggie Farrell, Caitlin DeCapua, all 4-year players on the varsity team. You want to talk about experience? This will be the first full 4-year graduating class that I would have seen. So my time here as head coach, that's all I've known is the 3 of them being a part of this program. So naturally, that's a little bittersweet, having the relationship that you grow with those girls and what they've meant to the program. But I think what they have really strived for in this off season is that they don't want to go out in any other way than the way that they would like it to be dictated, which is a great way to be because it's a motivation and it drives them and it drives the underclassmen and the juniors and sophomores that we'll have. So I think for the first time in a long time, we have a majority upperclassmen team. We have a lot of returners, 12 returners off of last year's roster, and 11 of those 12 are juniors and seniors. 3 seniors, so obviously a lot of juniors, but that's a first. And I think now when you get into your junior, senior year, you're going to remember what happened freshman, sophomore year, and you take from those experiences and you build off it. And these seniors this year have taken a lot of these experiences, and when they get into some game situations, they're going to know what to do just because of the amount of experience that they have had. And they've left a mark on this program, but I know that they want to go out with a bang this year, their senior year, and they're not going to settle for anything less than the ultimate goal.
As the old saying goes, pitching wins championships. If that is indeed true, Milford finds themselves in prime position to achieve some lofty goals in 2017.
I think the biggest thing for us is that we have a 1A, 1B, and you're gonna see them alternating every start, and the point of that is to keep them fresh, and the point of that is that they're excellent pitchers, and they're both. Allie's going to be pitching at Southern New Hampshire next year, and Kelly is soon to be getting offers and will be accepting an offer sometime soon. So I think it's very important that we have 2 pitchers that we can count on, where we don't have to say, all right, we got to send the same pitcher out every single day in a 4-day week. We're very fortunate that we have 2 that can go out there every other day and there's not a drop-off at all. So that's only going to help us when we get to the playoffs, so that way, when that time comes, we're ready to go and we're fresh. And that's real important, to have those 2 quality veteran arms that, again, like you just said, have been there, have experienced it, know what to expect, and we're going to need that leadership when we get into the playoffs.
I think that Kelly and I work really well together. We kind of complement each other, so say one person isn't doing as well, the other one can really step in and pick her up. So I think that we do work well, and it's like a friendly competition every year. I mean, we've both been working so hard this off-season, so I'm excited to see what we both bring to the table this year.
Last spring, the Lady Hawks graduated the last group of players that were a part of the softball team's state title runs. That has made this 2017 squad all the more anxious to usher in a new era of championship softball in Milford.
I think everyone's definitely excited. We all want to work really hard to get to that point. We've gone to the playoffs every year, but we've been struggling to make it past the first and second round. So I think this year we definitely have more of a drive to want to get past the first.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've been saying it's our last run. It's our last chance. We want to really give ourselves a name. This class, we want to do something. So I think that this year is really special and really important to us.
To be able to come out of the Hockomock League over the last couple of years that we've been, the Davenport champions and get to where we've been is great, but we have higher goals, higher expectations, and, we don't want to look ahead at sectional play or anything like that. Our goal and our main focus is to get better tomorrow than we're at today. We're not even looking at game one. It's that today is Wednesday the 22nd, and we're hoping that on Thursday the 23rd we're better off than where we were at on the 22nd. And if we can continue to build that way, we're going to be much, much better off come playoff time late in May.
Coming up on Saturday, our friends at Heartsong Spiritual Wellness will be holding an April Fool's Spring Retreat. The event kicks off with a Tai Chi class, followed by an inspirational talk by best-selling author Mal Duane, and much more. Lunch will be served as part of this day-long event. The April Fool's Spring Retreat takes place on Saturday, April 1st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information on this or any other Heartsong event, you can check out their website, heartsongspiritualwellness.com. Coming up next Friday, the Milford Performing Arts Center will be holding a benefit improv show. The show is being held to benefit Coleman Candelario, a young Milford resident battling through a series of difficult medical conditions. All proceeds from the event will help Coleman's family with their mounting medical expenses. The improv benefit show will take place on Friday, April 7th at MPAC Studios on Main Street from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. And on April 12th, join the Friends of the Milford Town Library as they host an event titled Dead in Good Company, a celebration of Mount Auburn Cemetery. Co-editors of the book by that same title will be on hand to walk audience members through the cemetery, complete with a slideshow presentation. The event takes place on Wednesday, April 12th inside the Granite and Quarry Room at Town Library beginning at 7 p.m. The event is free and open to the public. We'll wrap up the Informer tonight the same way we started. Milford town elections are this Tuesday, April 4th. Last spring, just 21% of registered voters participated in the local election. This is an important time in the Milford community with major decisions coming up that will impact the short-term and long-term future of the town. Don't miss out on an opportunity to have your voice heard. Get out and vote on April 4th, and then tune into Milford TV starting at 7:45 p.m. for live up-to-the-minute results. Once again, we thank you for watching. From all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.